Hi, today I'm going to show you how to create a real glow on white buildings by using a technique called underpainting. I'm actually using watercolour today. So first of all I'm going to go in with some water just onto the main area of this building. The direction of the light is coming from the left hand side, so I want to keep that really with the white of the paper. But to create a real atmosphere on a building, you can give it a lovely glow. So the colours that I'm going to use on the building are Naples yellow and permanent rose. So I'm just going to come in. I'm using a round number 10 brush. It's just a synthetic brush, not a sable. And I'm just going to give this side of the building a lovely glow. Now you may think that it's a white building so it won't show these colours, but the background that I've already prepared does actually have some permanent rose and Naples yellow in, so it's reflecting onto the building. And without these lovely colours, it would look very stark and flat. So that's Naples yellow on, and I'm just going to pop on a little bit of the permanent rose now. At this stage, I don't really want any harsh edges, so I'm just keeping an eye on those, just to make sure that that doesn't happen. And I like the colours to mix on the paper as well. So I'm just going to let that base dry and then move on to do the dome. Again, just a little bit of water, not a huge amount, because I'm going to go over with some colours. What I really want now is a real strong contrast, so I've chosen some really vibrant colours. Now this scene is actually from Greece in Santorini, and the domes are classically painted in cobalt blue. But to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm using cobalt blue turquoise light, and Prussian blue. So first of all, I'm coming on with the cobalt blue. Now the direction of the light is from the left, and because the light is quite sunny and sharp, I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight there. So that bit I'm leaving dry. Again, I'm still using my round number 10. I tend to use the same brush for most of the picture and then swap down when I need to for detail. So I'm going to go in with the cobalt turquoise light. I've kept this quite thick so the colour expands nicely against the blue. And then I'm going in with a mixture of Prussian blue with a little bit of burnt sienna in. And you can see that fabulous contrast you get there. And that's what makes those Naples yellow and permanent rose set back and become a glow of the white as well. With this being wet in wet, it's going to blend lovely. And that's that for this stage. I'll let that dry. Now that's completely dry, I'm going to go in and start to create some shadow. So I'm using a mixture of permanent rose and cobalt blue. Now that's quite dark, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water into that as I move it around. You want a hint of shadow. If we take too much on at this stage, then it won't look like a white building anymore. So you really want that hint. So I'm just moving this around with a little bit of water, take it into the window areas. Again, I'm thinking direction of the light's coming this way, so this I want to keep bright white. There will be a couple of bits of shadow on there. So you don't need to worry about the detail of the windows at this stage. Just need to think about where that shadow will appear. Take a little bit on this side. So I'm just painting this on dry, and then I'm just taking a damp brush in, touching into the colour, and just softening those edges in. I'm just going to swap down now to a number 6 round brush. Just want to come in, just create some shadow inside this area. I try to keep the largest brush possible for the job that I'm doing. It helps to keep the paint nice and fluid. Don't want it to be dry and scratchy. And then I'm just going to come in just along these top edges. Take a little bit more shadow down these sides. Okay, and now I need to let that dry. Now I've let that dry, I'm going to go into the windows. I'm going to use a mixture of Prussian blue and burnt sienna. So I'm using around number 6 still. I'm just going to come in and start to do some of this detail. So you can keep this nice and loose, as most of my work is quite loose anyway. But again, you want that real contrast now to help those white buildings stand out. So this is just painting straight onto dry with some Prussian blue. Then coming into the central window, the outside is very vibrant. So I'm still using the Prussian blue for that. And then I'm going to go in with the darker Prussian blue and burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is a really good colour to add to blues for skies and for dark colours. You can always mix up great darks with burnt sienna. So I've left a little white highlight just in each of these window panes. You see, I'm still using this number 6 brush because I don't want it to be too neat and tidy. The whole feel of the watercolour is quite loose. You can pop a few little bits of detail in if you want to, just to accent things. Just neaten that up a bit. And I'm just going to take in a little bit more of the permanent rose and cobalt blue just to accentuate those sides. Last of all, I just need to rub off this bit of masking fluid on the top, which has protected that white cross that I've wanted to keep totally white. So there we have the finished painting from Greece, Santorini in Greece, the church domes with the lovely underpainting with the glow of the watercolours.